People have been eating chocolate as early as 1500 BC. In fact, ancient humans were so fond of chocolate that they were using it as medicine and in religious rituals. Today, chocolate's available in every size, shape, and form you can imagine. From truffles and bars to powders and syrups, companies are shipping out as much as 3 million tons of it every year. So, let's see how this yummy treat is made. You might be surprised. Step 1. Cacao cultivation. For instance, did you know that chocolate's made from the fruit of the cacao tree? No matter their origin, whether Latin American or African cacao, the process for making chocolate is essentially the same, and it starts with the tree, pod, and bean. The Theobroma cacao tree is a picky plant. It only grows in certain regions of the world, where temperature is ideally 25 degrees and humidity levels are at 80%, conditions mostly found in Africa. Step 2. Harvesting. The cacao tree shows its fruit on its bark, almost like ornaments. Vibrant yellow and orange-colored cacao pods signal that they're ready to be harvested. Hanging from the trunk, the pods are typically harvested twice in a year. Over the years, the cultivation of cacao hasn't changed much either. The delicate nature of cacao trees makes it hard to harvest the fruit with tools and machines. Each fruit or pod is around 5 to 12 inches long and is hand-picked by farmers carefully, with some use of a machete. This makes it grueling work. It doesn't get easier from here. The beans need to be taken out manually, one fruit at a time. The workers slice open the cacao pod and take out the sticky white pulp inside. You might be thinking, this doesn't look like chocolate at all. Well, the seeds or the beans inside the fruit still have to go through the cleaning and fermentation process. After being chopped off, the pods are opened and their seeds are removed by hand. Each seed is about the size of an olive. Step 3. Fermentation. Then, the beans get a good scrub by hand. The pulp stays left on to help develop that chocolate flavor. Once they've basked in the sun, the cream-colored beans turn dark, almost purple, as if they're bruised. Then, they're ready for fermentation. This happens in one of two ways. The heap method, which is popular in Africa, where beans are heaped in piles on the ground, and in Latin America, a system of cascading boxes is usually used. Either way, the purpose is to develop more color and flavor on these beans, and microbes help big time with this. In both methods, the seeds are covered with banana leaves. Then they're left to ferment for 2 to 9 days. At this point, the beans look like coffee beans and start getting that chocolatey flavor we all love. But fermentation doesn't only give the beans their unique flavor and color. It's also a crucial process in killing bacteria and getting rid of the gooey white pulp we saw at the start. Step 4. Drying. The next crucial step, giving the beans a sun bath. Under the scorching sun, these beans are spread out on wooden boards or bamboo mats to remove excess moisture. Some flipping ensures they dry even. Once dried to perfection, these beans undergo a grading process. Only the finest are chosen. Beans which pass the quality check are ready to be packed into sacks. From there, these beans are ready for their next destination, the factory, where they'll be transformed into the finest quality chocolate. Step 5. Roasting. So, we all know that coffee beans are roasted to give them a rich flavor profile. Turns out, cacao beans are pretty similar. In the processing plant, cacao beans are roasted on screens and then popped in the revolving cylinders. Constant hot air is blown over them for the browning reaction to take place. This browning process allows the many chemicals in the beans to merge. As the beans roast, they start to release that delicious cocoa aroma. Depending on how long they've roasted and at what temperature, the beans can develop different flavor profiles, from fruity and floral to nutty and strong. Roasting is also important to remove the extra moisture. These beans are dried until only 1% moisture is left. Step 6. Winnowing. Once dry, the outer shell of the bean is almost turned into a husk. This makes it easier for the inner seed or the nib to separate from the shell or its outer skin. It's almost like peanuts. The dried out beans are then shifted to a winnowing machine. Here, the vibrating shelves easily separate the nibs from the husks. The husks are blown away by a fan, leaving the precious nibs ready for the next stage, grinding. Step 7. Grinding. In this step, things really start to kick off. The nibs are ground into a deep, dark brown paste, also known as the chocolate liquor. The thick, syrup-like paste of chocolate smells a lot like alcohol. Interesting, right? But it's not fit to drink. Placed under extremely high pressure, the paste makes two products, cocoa powder and cocoa butter. It's time to give this chocolate liquid a dip into an alkaline solution. What this does is make the flavor milder and turn the color deeper. The hydraulic press separates the cocoa solids from the cocoa butter. The cocoa butter is collected, while the cocoa solids can then be processed into cocoa powder. The powder is often used in making cakes, but cocoa butter isn't a throwaway item. It's a key component in creating chocolate bars. It can also be used in cosmetics. Step 8. Conching. Then, it's time to give the chocolate its silky, smooth texture. You do this by mixing it with chocolate liquor in a process called conching. Conching involves rolling, kneading, heating, and aeration. A conch is basically a large mixer that stirs and smooths the mixture under heat. This is an important step for producing consistent, pure, and delicious gourmet chocolate. And it's here that the final smell and flavor are defined. The chocolate here might look tempting, but it's bitter in taste. It's dark chocolate, but time to make things even more interesting. Other items like powdered milk, sugar, and vanilla can be added. It all depends on the type of chocolate being made. Dark chocolate only needs cocoa mass, cocoa butter, and sugar. Adding milk powder makes milk chocolate. Other exotic fruits and herbs can even be added. Yum, right? But white chocolate isn't considered an actual chocolate. It's made without cocoa mass or cocoa liquor. It does have cocoa butter though. Step 9. Tempering. We all love the snap of a chocolate bar breaking, and that's what leads us to the next stage of chocolate making, tempering. It's what gives it that snap and that smooth and shiny exterior. In this step, the chocolate is slowly heated and cooled. This changes the crystals within, giving the chocolate a uniform composition throughout. Step 10. Molding. The chocolate's finally ready to be poured into containers or molds. Whether it's the signature candy bar or a heart for Valentine's Day, chocolate can be molded into any shape. Sounds simple, but it's not. At this stage, some pesky, unwanted bubbles can form. So, after carefully pouring the chocolate, the molds are transferred onto a vibrating conveyor belt to remove any bubbles that might have sneaked in. A final quality check, and voila! Chocolate can now be packaged into their respective boxes. Of course, finished chocolate doesn't always stay in this form. Around the world, chocolatiers, bakers, chefs, and pastry experts use this highly versatile, delicious food in countless applications and preparations. And that's all from us. Thanks for watching. And if you want to see more videos like this, check out this one.